This story is based on the Fables of Fontaine.
At the edge of a divided valley, two creatures woke under the same storm. On the eastern ridge, a dragon with many heads rose from its cave. Each head snapped awake with a different hunger. One wanted to hunt, another wanted to sleep, another wanted to hoard, another wanted to burn the distant farms just to watch the smoke. The body lurched forward and instantly twisted sideways, pulled by competing necks. Claws dug trenches in the mud as the dragon advanced a step, recoiled too, then spun in a furious circle. When the wind carried the scent of deer, three heads surged downhill. When the wind shifted and brought the scent of gold, two heads jerked toward the cliffs. When thunder cracked, another head dragged the whole beast back toward the cave. The dragon's own weight became a wrestling match, and the valley below stayed strangely calm, not from peace, but from the creature's inability to move as one. On the western ridge, a dragon with many tails heaved itself from a ravine. Its single head stared forward with fierce certainty, but behind it, a crowd of tails flailed like a storm of ropes. Each tail struck a different boulder, snagged a different branch, slapped a different patch of thorn. The dragon lunged toward the river, and its tails yanked it sideways into a bramble thicket. It tore free and tried again, and the tails tangled around one another until the dragon's own momentum cinched them tight. It thrashed, and the knot only tightened. Its one clear gaze remained fixed on the far meadow, but the chaos behind it made every stride a stumble. The storm thickened. A lightning bolt split an old oak at the center of the valley and set the dry heartwood smoking. Sparks ran along the grass like quick feet. The fire began to crawl toward both ridges, slow at first, then faster as the wind rose.
The many-headed dragon saw the fire and reacted in fragments. One head lunged to stamp it out. Another reared back to flee. Another tried to scoop glittering stones into its jaws before leaving. Another insisted on charging straight through. The body shuddered under the quarrel, and the dragon spent its strength arguing with itself in muscle and motion. Smoke reached its cave mouth, and still it spun, half advancing, half retreating, until the heat licked its scales and drove it into a frantic, senseless rush that led nowhere. The many-tailed dragon saw the same fire and surged toward the river. It ran with purpose, claws throwing clods of earth, but every tail chose its own path. One hooked a stump, another whipped a low branch and wrapped tight. Two knotted together. The dragon dragged its own burden like a net. It gained ground, lost it, gained it again. When the flames flared higher, the tails thrashed harder, tightening snags into traps. Between them, the fire found what disunion offered: time. Ash fell. The valley animals fled in a single stream toward the riverbank, a line of bodies moving as one. Hooves and paws made a narrow trail through smoke. The trail reached shallow water and continued to the far side. The many-tailed dragon, still straining, stumbled onto that same trail. Its head dipped, its shoulders followed, and for a moment its tails were dragged in the channel of packed earth. Snags loosened, knots slipped. The tails forced into one track, stopped choosing separate directions. Freed by a path they could not argue with, the dragon surged forward and reached the river. It plunged in, water hissing against its heated scales, and the flames behind it faltered at the bank. The many-headed dragon, seeing the river through wavering smoke, tried to follow. But each head seized a different plan: fight, flee, forage, rage. The body staggered off the trail, and the grass there was taller and drier. Fire climbed it eagerly. The dragon whipped around, undone by its own competing instincts, and the smoke swallowed its silhouettes. Many mouths open, one body going nowhere.
When the storm finally broke, rain flattened the last embers. Steam lifted from the valley like a ghost. On the western ridge, the many-tailed dragon crawled from the river and lay still, tails trailing behind in a quiet line, no longer lashing at every impulse. On the eastern ridge, only scorched earth remained where the many-headed dragon had churned circles. In the blackened grass, the lesson was written without words, as plain as the river's edge. A single strength is wasted when it pulls itself apart, and a clear purpose fails when it lets disorder follow. Power divided against itself becomes its own defeat. Only unity of action turns danger into escape.